Oh, hello. Welcome back to the Biotopes. Thanks for coming back, everybody. I thought I'd give us a little update in the fish room. Got a lot of things going on and some fun things, some fun projects. So stay tuned and let's get started. All right, first, it is the end of July here, and in the fish room, which is not heated but insulated, it is 86 degrees and we're at 72% humidity. So it is very warm, which we'll talk more about here as we go along. So just looking at the fish room, we'll start here. So this is my old 55-gallon stand that I made into a bench. So I've got a previous video on that. I'll link it up above. Right here is my kind of bucket-o tricks. So if I'm working on the tank in my daughter's room or the tank in my office, this is kind of the supply bucket that I'll take. And we can show you what's in there. So I've got my siphon, I've got some glass cleaner, algae scraper, different types of forceps, my aquarium core-op multi-test strips. I've got a kind of substrate, spatula. I've got a measuring cup. This is 1 cup. This is a little scrub brush for scrubbing like lids, that type of thing. What else is this? Tap water conditioner, which I use where I don't have my auto water change system. Got some scissors. I've got some fluorous nitrogen just to add to some of the tanks. What else is in here? Oh, I've got my handy dandy thermometer gun. So that's really great. I've got a small net. I'll use this to add salt to tanks. I'll just put some salt in the net and kind of set it kind of on the water and let it just kind of dissolve in. And to measure my salts, way here at the bottom is my rusted 1 tablespoon measuring spoon. So what I do for salt is I will add 1 tablespoon for every 10 gallons of water, just as a preemptive prophylactic to help with fish health. I'll add a little bit more if I've got a fish that maybe has some kind of skin issue or that is sick, that type of thing. I'll add a little bit more, but I like to add just aquarium salt from time to time whenever I do a water change. Next under here, I've got the rest of my fertilizers. I've got some crushed coral here, just a little bit. I've got some tanks once in a while that the buffer will go way down, the hardness and the pH will start to drop. So I'm kind of testing on some crushed coral in some tanks. I've got another type of fertilizer. I got this at an auction. Let's see what this is. This is the Thrive all-in-one. Haven't opened that up obviously yet, so we'll see how that goes. I've got my stash of aquarium salt. I've got a couple all-in-one test kits, trash can. I've got some filter floss there. This is the 1 10-gallon sump, which is going great. You can see it's kind of overflowing off that top shelf, which means I've got to clean that filter floss in there soon. But in the meantime, we're getting some good aeration. And below here, I keep some of my foods. I like to feed decapsulated brine. I just picked this up. This is from New Life Spectrum Probiotics. So far so good. Just started with that. This is just the small pellet. And, just some other supplies, root tabs, botanicals, pens, that type of thing. So in my first biotope, this is the Solomos River, the upper Amazon. And this is going really well. Just a couple things to note on this tank. I just had a spawn in here yesterday. They like to spawn kind of on the back glass. I've had spawns there. I've had spawns in this front corner. I think I had a spawn on this side glass once. These angels are still pretty young, not fully grown. And the eggs, I mean, I don't think they don't even last 24 hours in here, but, you know, they're happy. The next thing that I'll mention about this is that, you know, I've got this. Well, first off, I've got these Amazon swords. There's 5 in there right now. You know, they don't do great. I've got root tabs in there, and I'll get new leaves, but they just never get that big. I'm guessing it's because of, first off, I'll get in my way, there's a bristle nose right there. And then my other bristle nose is right there. I'm guessing it's because of that. I've got root tabs. I do dose lightly ferts every 3 weeks or so, but just never gotten some great growth. Oh, the other issue I think is because of all this floating frog bit. I bet you maybe the light isn't enough. I don't know. Love to hear your thoughts on that. So that's one issue I have. The other issue I have is I tried to use these kind of composite leveling wedges. You can see one right there. You can see one back here. And they get uncovered from time to time from the quarries, I guess, and just the gravity pulling this gravel and sand down. But I'm trying those to try to keep this mound on that left side, and that rock there as well. I've tried to kind of use that to stack that media up, or that substrate up, but not great. All I get is kind of spillage down into the lower levels, and then I've got our kind of sand cap here. So this started all as sand cap, but obviously that's gone down, you know, kind of filtered through the gravel, and then the gravel and kind of the sand mix on top. So still playing with that. Love to hear some more ideas if you got any. Obviously the tank's already set up, so I can't go back and, you know, put down any kind of barrier, but anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. My other thing that's going on in this tank is I've got a small plant that I'm working on growing here. In the initial stages, a lot of leaves died back, and I think now I'm getting to the point where I've got some underwater roots forming, and I'm getting maybe a little better health here. You can see I've got maybe a little node right there that's coming through. But if you look in the back, see if I can show you guys this. I know my water in this tank has a lot of sediment, but you can kind of see, let me back up, here's kind of the roots here, and I know it's not in great light, but see that white root? I think that is like an underground new root. So I think it's starting to convert to kind of being the roots in the water, so we'll see. I'd like to see that take off, but just kind of an experiment I'm running there. So other than that though, I've got 6 silver angels, I think 3 males, 3 females, and like I said, I think I've got at least a couple pairs. I've got 5 black skirts. I've got probably 16 bronze cories in here, Corydorus aeneas. And I've got 2 brown bristlenose. I think there's 1 or 2 ghost shrimp still alive in this tank somehow. I'll see them from time to time. They hang out under these plants. I don't see any right now. And of course the angelfish are gonna get in the way. So yeah, so those are kind of still hanging in from time to time. So that's our upper Amazon tank. Right above that is our Costa Rican tank. And this is kind of based on a river system on the Atlantic drainage side of Costa Rica. My issues with this tank are thus. 1, this Nicaraguan cichlid primarily, which she likes to hide in the back. She's a little bit camera shy. You can see her back there. She's really beautiful. And we'll get a shot of her later, but she loves to kind of dig up substrate. You can see there's some glass there in the bottom, all of this on this side. You can see she's dug up, so it's really hard to maintain any kind of root feeding plants. I've got this big like Valsenaria. It's either rubra or spiralis, but I've tried to like replant that and maybe try to put it like by some rocks or protect it from some wood, but it just gets torn up from time to time. Tried Combamba in here, which, you know, barely hangs on with just as much as they get pulled out. And lastly, I'm trying some hornwort, which we've got some floating here, some of it is settled here, here. So I'm just trying to get more plant coverage, primarily for these knife live bearers, Alfaro Cotratus. We've got 5 of those, like 2 females and 3 males. Started with 8 or 9, and I've had some not make it. I had a big female that died somewhat recently. I've got lots of spawns out of that old female. Nothing out of this one yet. You can see some kind of flirtation going here. That's how they do it. The male kind of rides the back of the female. But if I had some more cover, maybe I'd get a spawn or 2 in here. If I am getting any drops, they're getting eaten pretty quick. So maybe I'll eventually pull females out if I see them pregnant, see if I can get some. But I then have 9 rainbow cichlids. There's 1 baby there you can see that's made in this tank somehow. These spawn all the time. Sorry for the glare. So these are really underrated fish. They stay small, 4 inches, maybe 5. They do love to sift through the sand. Easy to spawn, really beautiful. Got that yellow, and there's some blue in the finnage. Really cool fish in here. So those are kind of the 3 types of fish: that female Nicaraguan, these rainbow cichlids, here tilapia multispinosa, and these Alfaro Cotratus knife live bearers on top. So the substrate's one issue. I want to get more plants in here, but it's just really tough. 2, because of the lack of plants, I get algae a lot on the sides. I've got 1 nyrite snail in there that does a pretty good job, but you can see kind of the side here. I've lowered the light level. This is only just a finnick stingray, and you can see I've got it up off the tank. I've got it mounted here through the ceiling. So I've lowered the light, duration in here from time to time, but pretty regularly scraping the algae off the front glass. But other than that, fun tank. Keep playing with that, and yeah, it's been really fun to watch. Love the rainbow cichlids, very cool fish. On the next stack, well, I've got my fan in here. I haven't run this lately, but I've had some of these tanks, namely this one here, which we'll get to in a second, get up to 90 degrees. When I do that, I take the lids off and I run that tank just to get some evaporation. That helps a lot. But we've got a culture of microworms there. I like to feed those out. And I got my second sump down here. Oh, this is my Echo Pop. Just got that for my birthday. So thanks to Mrs. Biotope for getting me that. That'll be fun. Namely, I can call into the Echo inside. I'll let everybody know I'm in the fish room. Anyway, here's our next sump, and I just wanted to show you, see how the water level is a little low. You can see my mark I've got here on the side, and the water is low here, so it's super easy to add water. All I've got to do, see if I can show you guys underneath it. I know the lighting's not great, so I apologize, but I've got this faucet right here. So all I do, and I'll pull this lid off, is I just turn this, and it's just adding water to the sump. And I've got it set now. It's got a kind of shower valve in the basement on the other side of this wall. And I can kind of control the temperature, but I've got the hot kind of turned off on it right now. So it's cold waters because there's water in this room, with the room being 86 in the summer. I use that cold water to kind of help cool the tanks. So just turn that on and you can see it just fills up the tank. It's all run through a carbon block, so there's no chlorine or chloramines in the water. And I'll let that get up, and then when it's to a good spot, I'll just turn it off. Done. And now it's nice and quiet again. And I'll put the lid on top just to help with a little bit with evaporation, but that sump's running great. I've got my pump and hose here in case I need to drain any tanks. This is just one of those kind of file boxes. I put some magazines, some of the research on the biotopes that I've done over time. You can see there's some sitting on top. I'll keep some of those documents in there. This here is my South Johnstone biotope. This is the South Johnstone River Basin is in kind of northeastern Australia. Shout out to Jason Solda of Australian Biotopes for his help on this tank. I've currently got 13 pseudomcgill signifers in here, and they are doing great. I did have, 10 or 11 ghost shrimp. Haven't seen those guys in a while, which is weird because I'm not finding bodies, and these pseudomcgills are really not big enough to eat them. I've got a ton of really nice Vallisneria, big val. So again, this is a mixture of Spiralis, Rubra, Americana. It's really sent, so this is sending runners here. I've got another runner going back here. But I've got, the substrate's got some aquatic soil in bags. If you heard that, that's my dehumidifier just kicked on, thank goodness. But so sorry if the sound isn't great, but that should help. So anyway, the substrate's got some aquatic soil in there, and they're just capped with gravel, sand, screenings they would use for like patios. Just gives a real nice mix on the substrate. We've got some kind of river rocks here, some wood, some sticks. Leaf litter. Currently I've got 3 spawning mops. I'm trying to spawn these guys and increase the colony of signifers here. And the first round, what I've done is usually kind of incubation on signifers is about 16 to 21 days. I put these spawning mops in here. They've got to be down in the bottom along the substrate, like the bottom 4 inches is where signifers like to spawn. But I've got those in there. I tried one time, 2 weeks, took the mops out into other tanks, got nothing. So it could be that they're just a little bit young. Maybe they just weren't in good spots. I'm hoping it's not the snails in this tank. Just pond and ramshorn snails that are eating eggs. They should lay enough eggs that would outlast the snails, but so I'm currently on my second kind of go around here. This one's been in since it's 22nd, so it's the 28th, so 6 days, 5 days, 4 days. So I'll wait 2 weeks, then pull those out and put those in another tank and see if I get any spawns. I've had a lot of good success with breeding signifers, but this is the first time I'm using spawning mop, so interested to see if that works out. So other than that, and a lot of the snails in this tank's going great. Oh, I've got this. I've got 3 Aponegitans in here. This is a Crispus here. This one back here is a Crispus, and I've got one here. The bulbs right there behind this rock. I think that's a Bovinianus, something like that. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. It will go and melt from time to time. It's not got any really great leaves right now. It goes. That's pretty typical for Ponegines. Then it's melted back and it's coming back again. This one's been strong since the get-go, so those are really cool. And all of these plants and fish and ecosystem is based on, again, that South Johnstone River in northeastern Australia. Just got a real cheap light here above it. And yeah, it's going really good. My top tank in this system's not set up. I've got my TV that installed here a while back, so that's a lot of fun, just watching videos and hanging out in the fish room. I've got a brine shrimp hatcher here. It's okay. Not great. I'm not great at hatching brine shrimp, just more work than I've been used to or wanted to do, so I've got to get going on that, especially once I get a spawn from these signifers. My dehumidifier, which is a used one, it's not super efficient, but what I've got it doing is, to show you guys, I've got a hose hooked up and it is draining out into my drainage system, which, as some of you know, runs all along the room, underneath these tanks, around the corner, underneath this system, and then right out the wall here into essentially the yard, into our water drainage system here at the house. So that's real nice. My next stack of 75s here. This tank is emptied. I was holding my dad's fish here a while back. He's back home, so he took those. This sump is about 15-gallon acrylic sump. It's a wet-dry trickle filter. Obviously not running right now, but that's worked and is doing great. Just got some supplies here in these bins. Filters, tubing, bags, lights, sponges, whatever a guy might need. This is my 10-gallon tank of electric blue crayfish. I've had a spawn. I think the male is sitting right back there. There's probably 4 or 5 babies in here. You can see one here. Sorry, my battery just died. So as I was saying, this is my 10-gallon electric blue crayfish tank. There's a male there in the back, and there's 4 or 5 babies hanging out here. I've sold a bunch. The female did die. Moved some around to other tanks, so no heater in this, and just kind of hanging out. They're pretty easy, just to hang on the back and basic marine land lid light. So one other thing I do want to mention is these tanks here are all 75-gallon tanks with a 10-gallon sump. So you're talking about 155 gallons of water in each system, which has worked out really well. Parameters stay really great. So all right, next is my rack of 20s. There's 6 20 highs. And we'll start up here. This is just a tank waiting for hopefully a spawning mop full of eggs or any quarantine needs. But just got some val, and this is a rare Amazon sword there. There is one crayfish in here. He's kind of hanging out back under this rock. Kind of see his antenna hanging out. Next time I move that spawning mop in here, I'll take him out of there because I think he's maybe eating the eggs. I've just got an internal little Aqueon 10 or whatever that is on that. And the light is kind of just going over both of these tanks. The next 20 is my pair of angelfish. This white one is a German blue blusher. I don't know if he's full veil tail, but pretty close. And then the lady here This is just a female black. She's got a little bit of a bent dorsal, so I may have to call for that. I don't know if it's genetic or not, but they've spawned a few times. I put a slate in here for them, so if they spawn, I can move them out. But this has also got some green water going in it. A bunch of Amazon frog bit and some Val and just a hang on the back. So hopefully get a spawn out of them. I like to raise those. I think that male will throw out some really nice offspring. All of these tanks here are on kind of a semi-automatic water change system. So I've got valves for each row, and the hosing just goes into the top of the tank. You can kind of see here, I just cut a little notch out of the lid and the frame on the tank. And as that fills up, it just overflows here in the back, and that all drains down through some hosing into this pipe here and then out. So that's how that works. In about 6 minutes, I can get about 10 gallons, or about 10%, sorry, change in about every 6 minutes. This tank has got some cloudy water. I'm thinking it's because of the sand. I've got 6 guppy fry in here, and then a pair of bristlenose. There's an albino male and a chocolate female. They've had eggs. The male kicks them out a lot. I've had once in a while, I think I had one baby make it. Didn't last that long, but one baby did hatch. So I'd like to get those to spawn. Here you can see some of the fry. It's like a half blue, half black. Really nice guppy. The parents died, but trying to just get those, turn those in for some BAP. Got my 6. There's a bunch of Java fern in here, and just sand, and just a small internal filter in the back corner there. This next tank is another holding tank for fry or quarantine. It just got a really big bunch of Java fern, some hornwort, some val, some Java moss, a couple Madagascar lace plants, just a sponge filter and a heater on there. And like I said, nothing in there now, just waiting for some habitants. I think it's always good to have an empty tank or two. This one down here is my group of diamond tetras. This, somebody was getting rid of them for free. I just went and picked them up. There's 5 of them there. I've also got this baby rainbow cichlid growing up with them. So again, just a hang on the back, the heater just in case we need it, and there's some val. And, I've got a sponge in the back there just waiting. Excuse me, I threw some crushed coral in the back here. You can kind of see it on the substrate there, that white stuff. Just like a half a teaspoon. I wanted to see if it changed in the parameters, because the pH in this tank is kind of low. It's like 6.8. And the buffer is down. So I want to see if, just doing a little experiment, see if that little amount in a 20 does anything. And then finally, this is my last 20. Again, nothing's in here. Just got a heater and a hang on the back, and quarantine, grow out, etc., that type of thing. I've got some Java moss that's not doing great. This is like a cheap light I got from Lowe's, because I had an LED that died on me, so I just picked that up for like $10. This is another, all right, this light's all jacked up. Just a cheap LED for this tank that I've just fastened kind of to the rack underneath here. So, and these are just polycarbonate lids. All of my lids are polycarbonate except for this tank, which are the glass lids. So, yeah, I think that's about it. Appreciate everybody watching. And on the way out, we'll give you guys a little view. Oh, I do want to say on this tank here, the South Johnstone River tank, I am going to add 2 more species in here. I'm trying to source those now, so I won't release what those are, but rainbow fish specifically are very hard to make sure you get the right one. There's a lot of crossbreeding. Some local stores, their suppliers maybe say it's one type of fish, but it's not. So I'm still waiting to get a couple more species for this. I've got a club meeting tonight at a great local fish store that I'm hoping maybe has some fish for us, so maybe I'll pick it up there. So thanks so much for watching, everybody, and we'll see you guys next time here in the Biotopes.